And it was a big surrender for me. I mean, I really gave over my life to this. It was not a hobby, and it wasn't even something I just did for a living.
Yeah.
You know, it became a vocation and a calling for me.
Totally.
But luckily, it was easy to devote myself and to be in service, because I fell madly in love with her in the very first moment. I fell hard. I fell hard. And I'm still there. I'm still in love with her.
That makes me want to cry. All right. Now I'm gonna.
So should we bring her through?
Yeah. Okay. All right, we are off and running. Welcome to this Inner Sanctum May. We're in May. I'm so excited that you're all here. It's so wonderful to see you all. I've got the Brady Bunch view at the moment. And Danielle is our guest today. And I was just saying before I posted in the Inner Sanctum, you know, I saw Sean Anker and Brené Brown talking about vulnerability, and she asked him, how do you deal with vulnerability? And it just made me think that, you know, it's so fitting, that conversation for today, because, well, any of us that wants to put our story out into the world and use our own personal story to help others is dealing with vulnerability. I think that actually KAren does this really well. I think your show does really well because you are so vulnerable and open. Actually, you're so willing to show yourself warts and all, and tell and share your story, and it doesn't all have to be, you know, beautiful and glossy. It can be.
I'm definitely the anti-guru. I don't know what I'm doing. People just come along. just try to put a good vibe out, and hopefully it goes well. So,
but it creates that. It's in our flaws, I think, that creates the connection, because everybody knows how difficult it is to navigate a physical body and a human mind. Well, you know, even though we are these infinite beings of love and light, we're still navigating this apparatus which makes us forget who we are. We're knocking up against all those limiting ideas about ourselves, and so that, you know, vulnerability and connection is so intrinsically linked. I just got a message from Brad. They're not making it. Okay, so they won't be making it. So I think you might be the only guy online today, KAren.
I definitely feel very estrogen dominant in the room. It's heavy. I can feel it. But I'll represent the best I can. KAren, do you feel that this kind of community is very heavy female?
You know, it really used to be when I was in my 30s and seeking out groups of people to have this conversation with, heavy female. Like, I was a young, like 32-year-old, and all the women were like older, plumpish, middle-aged women. And I used to look around and think, why is that? And now I am one of those older, plumpish, middle-aged.
Yeah.
I find that as we move along, that men are coming to the party. And I remember doing a course with a healer, and we were discussing this, you know, women are talking about this. And she said, you know, that's just your creation too. She said, in your mind or in your psyche, invite the men. And I remember all my clients were female. And I thought, yeah, that's just a thought. We're female dominated. And I remember going home and thinking, the men want to get in on this party as well. You know, they want to know their connection to love as much as a woman does, and their connection to source and intuitive abilities and all their infinite potential and creative, you know, powers. And I remember inviting, and my clientele really changed. And it started being 50-50, 50 male, 50 men, 50 female, 50. Yeah, it really changed when I shifted my focus. Yeah.
So you attracted that in because our group's pretty much mostly female. It's pretty heavy. Just that way. I just assumed it was just a more females are just better at touching that kind of energy than guys. I don't know. And there's social stigma doing, you know, being a guy and all that junk.
Well, it was like I was talking with Kevin yesterday, actually, when I had a chat with him. You know, guys love to think and nut things out and chew things over, and women love to, you know, think and feel and share their emotions and talk about their emotions. And you know, that's sort of poignant for what we're doing today, because with Danielle's work, I find her, when she's channeling Mother Mary, it's really practical advice. It sort of sounds like such practical advice, but you really get the beauty of her work. I found when I interviewed her was feeling it, like really tuning in emotionally. Just the energy that I felt when you were channeling Mother was so beautiful. So it's not so much of a, listening to what's being said. It's just feeling it, even though it's really practical advice. So it's interesting. So it carries both the sort of the mental and the feeling sense, because it's the practical advice, but imbued with that beautiful, loving, nurturing, caring energy, supportive energy. That's what I found. But I won't yak too much today. I'll let Danielle share a bit of your story. Just tell people, because nothing more vulnerable, I think, than telling the world you're channeling Mother Mary and then putting yourself out there and saying, hey guys, I'm channeling Mother Mary, with all that religious stuff that we have to bump up against. It's nothing more vulnerable than putting your face on camera and putting that out to the world. I found that really vulnerable. I suppose that when you first started channeling, Danielle, you probably found it was really vulnerable to channel to camera too, because what if I get it right? What if I get it wrong? What do I look like? All that sort of stuff.
It was not my favorite thing when I first started channeling Mother Mary, because I thought, really, does it have to be Mother Mary, like the most famous woman on the entire planet? Could it not be some obscure Egyptian god that nobody's heard of before? And that was really my first introduction to, I guess, public vulnerability. And I had, long time before that, in my youth, had pursued an acting career. But that was very different. I mean, that certainly had a level of vulnerability, but I was pretending to be someone else and not really putting my personal self out there. And so the first thing I had to come to peace with was not just the channeling, but who I was channeling. And I was really afraid of getting it wrong, because people have such fixed ideas about Mother Mary.
Yeah.
And, woe be unto you if you veer off from that in any way. People tend to be very reactive at times. So that was, I spent, I'd say, the first 5 years really hardcore working on that, getting over my fear of channeling her and, getting it right, and all that that goes on in my mind about what, other people and how they might perceive it or receive it, judge it, whatever, their reaction. And so that I spent a lot of time and a lot of effort. I didn't just sit around thinking about it, but I spent a lot of time in meditation and writing about it and sharing about it with other people and really working through it. I worked through it in therapy. I found a therapist who, I was living in Seattle at the time when I was really getting down into this deeply. And it was great because Seattle was super open and everybody had gone to channeling at some time. So to find a therapist who, was comfortable, who was a believer, and not just kind of humoring me and like, oh, okay, well, let's talk about other things. He was great at helping me come to peace with that level of vulnerability, because I have to be honest, I was really afraid of attack, of personal attack from people who are, well, I mean, Christianity has its fair share of fanatics, and I've run into a few of them, and one of the best things I ever did for myself was getting an assistant who reads my hate mail.
Oh, wow.
To stop reading my hate mail was a huge step for me in taking care of myself, because and the irony is, of course, that most people, the majority of my hate mail comes because I charge money for what I do, rather than because of I'm channeling Mother Mary. But
I really want to address that. It's almost like you can't be spiritual and child like this. That's such a huge, you know, Frances would put it in her books like vibrational sphere. I call them thought forms. They're entities upon themselves. They're thoughts that dictate what people think. They overtake. And this idea that you can't be spiritual and do spiritual work and charge money is a huge one that I bump up against all the time. Someone wrote me this long email about, you know, I put all this stuff free out on the internet and spend hours and hours and a lot of money doing it and get no money for it. And she wrote me this long email critiquing all my work and you know, ashamed that I charge and all this stuff. Anyway, we bump up against that a lot. But please go on. I've interrupted.
No, it's a big issue because, you know, and again, Christianity gives us this image that, you know, that Christ was penniless and whereas in Eastern cultures, when people recognize a teacher or guru or whatever, a yogi, a master, whenever they recognize that, they are quick to support. Like they jump in with money and, you know, preparing meals and a place to live. They have a different mindset around spirituality and what it takes to be a teacher. And the West does not have that mindset. So you have this one mindset of, you know, you better pull yourself up by your bootstraps and work hard and make your own money. But the other mindset is that if you're spiritual, you should be poor, like nuns and priests and Christ and, you know, all that, except for the fact that the nuns and the priests and everybody, they're being fed by donations to the Catholic Church. So it's fascinating to me.
It is fascinating. Oh, I want to say so much to this. You know, the first thing I want to say about this is, you know, the irony of the Catholic Church making spirituality free, and yet the Catholic Church is one of the most wealthy companies in the world. I mean, go to the Vatican. Yep. You know, there's so much abundance and wealth in the spirituality of the Catholic Church. That's the irony of it. And so that's something that we need to remember. The thought form that if it's spiritual, it has to be free is just a thought that people indulge in that does take on your life. And as we cease to indulge in it, like you said, like you just don't go there, you don't focus it. As you take your focus away from that and put it on spirituality is the most valuable thing. It's the most valuable thing we can do with our lives because we all want to be happy. Like that's what we're looking for. We're all looking for love. We're all looking to feel good. And that's what we're offering people. And the next thing I wanted to say to all of this was that, you know, as a practitioner or someone putting your story out there, as everyone who's on this call is, it's really about valuing you, which is what Mother's going to talk about. It's about the value you give to you and what you offer people. Yeah, to just really value yourself. And when you do really value yourself and what you bring to people, even if it's like what I'm doing, I'm bringing people together and connecting people. That's something I really value, is creating connections, you know, creating community. And I have not a competition bone in my body. Like Karen has a show, I have a show, Kevin has a show. We've all got these shows, right? And like, I just love bringing us all together. We're all talking to beautiful spiritual teachers, and we're all beautiful spiritual teachers in our own right. And it's this community and valuing the community and just tuning into that energy of value. And that's when you're valued, I find. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I just really pulled in and started focusing on her work, on the work what she was actually offering to people. I started doing it. Mm-hmm. Like not just all of a sudden I got off my pedestal and got down into the trenches, and pretty early in I started doing what she was telling other people to do. And what do you know? It worked. Things started changing. My life got better. It was like, wow. Okay.
I know. We get so caught up with, you know, bringing through the information. We forget to actually live what we're bringing through.
Exactly.
And Yeah, I see that a lot. I see that a lot. And it's actually in living it. It's actually in living it that the joy of the ride, really, it just all unfolds. It just all beautifully. And as I said before, it's such practical, logical stuff, you know, that it's not any sort of like revelation. It's just so practical, and it's some stuff that we know. We just have to live it. It's just like, I know this. Yeah, you might know it, but are you living it? Like, are you doing it?
And that's what's so I find so extraordinary about her energy, is that, you know, as she's speaking it, as she's teaching it, she's giving the energy that you need to integrate it, so that, you know, she really helps things drop from here to here to here.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, that's what I need, because I don't want to just keep filling my head with knowledge.
Yeah.
You know, I want the penny to drop. I want to feel it.
Yep.
We were talking about earlier in the beginning, Karen, that, you know, it's that ability to feel. And that's, of course, where the greatest vulnerability is,
mm-hmm.
is to feel. And I don't just mean emotions,
mm-hmm.
but everything that feeling entails, viscerally, you know, emotionally, spiritually, all the feeling self, and to engage that in my life. That's what I want, and that's what she's offering.
Absolutely.
And it was a big surrender for me. I mean, I really gave over my life to this. It was not a hobby, and it wasn't even something I just did for a living.
Yeah.
You know, it became a vocation and a calling for me.
Totally.
But luckily, it was easy to devote myself and to be in service, because I fell madly in love with her in the very first moment. I fell hard. And I'm still there. I'm still in love with her.
That makes me want to cry. All right. Now I'm gonna.
So should we bring her through?
Yeah. Okay. So I just want to say to everybody, this is not an intellectual exercise, even though it is. It's just a feeling exercise, and there's no time and space. So even though we're on different corners of the planet, we're all in the one energy. Yeah, please bring her through. I'm going to mute everybody just so that there won't be any distractions.
Okay. Hello, beloved ones. It's wonderful to be with you today, or tomorrow, or yesterday, or wherever you are in this beautiful, wide world. Hello, beloved Karen. Thank you so much for inviting me here today, my dear. So I want to talk to all of you about a compassionate life. And I know that each one of you already has a tremendous capacity for compassion, particularly with others. You are able to look at the people in your life with such love and caring and acceptance. But what I want to focus on today is your compassion with yourself. There is a very difficult road to walk when you choose a life of service. And you can call it spiritual work or whatever name you want. It really doesn't matter. What matters is that you have chosen to connect with others far below the surface. You have chosen to open your heart, to open your soul, to open your body and mind, to commune and connect with others, and to give them this pathway of love that exists between all of you, But you are saying, look, feel, it's here right now between us, in this room, in this moment. And every time you do that, you grow. Every time you do that, you invite more love into your being. But what I find, and I am speaking not just in general, but to each one of you that is here right now, and this wonderful group that you have put together, my dear, that you all need to look deeper into living compassion with yourself. You give so freely to others, but not as much to yourself. So I want you all to think deeply after tonight about your own circle of support. Get out paper and pen, write down not just the people, but the things that you do, what you receive, what you do for yourself, what others do for you, that you feel supports your life and the love you are offering to others. Because when it comes down to it, that's what all the energy work is about. That's what all the talking is about. That's what all the shows are about, the interviews. You all have signed up to be a conduit of love, compassion, and connection. So think about that feeling of compassion. It's a different kind of love. It's a particular kind of love. It's a love that feels so open and welcoming. Compassion has deep understanding. So what is it that you can say for sure that you understand about yourself? Maybe when you feel you've fallen short or you're blaming yourself for something, go to the understanding. Remind yourself, of course I feel the way I feel. Of course I did what I did or didn't do what I didn't do, because I am who I am. And that is enough. Let yourself be enough in the moment. This is what is at the heart of compassion. When you extend compassion to another, basically what you're saying to them is, I see you, and you are enough. So please think about, contemplate, giving that same energy to yourself, whether you are giving it to yourself directly or you are allowing more people on the outside to give that to you. This is where the real strength lies, not in doing things yourself, feeling that you're supposed to have it together, that you should already know. That is a false sense of strength. When you keep telling yourself, oh, I can do this. It's just one more thing. I got this. I can do this. Think in terms of community. If you want to have community, then live by the basic tenets of community. Ask for help all the time, particularly to others. That is vulnerability, most assuredly, and that's uncomfortable for many of you. But vulnerability is empowerment. Vulnerability says, I'm going to reveal myself to you emotionally, mentally, spiritually, physically, in such a way that you can feel me. And when you feel me, that is power. That is empowerment. So you cannot get enough help in your life. You cannot have enough support, meaning don't limit yourself in your circle of support. Let your circle of support be filled with people you can call all the time to talk about what you're feeling, what's going on for you. Be vulnerable with others. Hiding yourself, hiding what you're feeling, that is not empowerment. When you step on this path, you are stepping on the path of revelation. So you are choosing to reveal yourself to others so you can invite them to reveal themselves to you. And in doing that, you reveal yourselves to yourselves. You get to know yourself. You come to understand yourself. And you feel the glory that you are. You feel the extraordinary self without shame, without denial, without trying to be something that you imagine others want you to be. Compassion is that love that centers on acceptance, understanding that who you are right now in this moment, not the next, but this moment, is exactly who you need to be to do all that you desire to do in this life. So to give yourself that compassion is to unburden yourself from believing that you need to be anyone other than who you are in this moment. And I promise you, beloved ones, the deeper you go within yourself, the more you embrace who you are, shadow and light, the easier it will be for you to be vulnerable and to recognize the power in vulnerability. The compassionate life is a life that says, I need help to do what I do. I need support. I need to reach out to others to say, I'm floundering, I'm struggling, or something fantastic happened today. And I want to celebrate with you, my friend, or my family member, or my therapist, or whatever. That there is a sharing of the light and the shadow. There is a sharing of self. Don't fall for the illusion that you have to stay behind the curtain and get everything squared away and then throw the curtain open and say, ta-da, we are all just, see how put together I am. You don't have to share everything with everyone. That is also a trap. Your circle of support must contain people you trust deeply, who get you, who are in your tribe, who understand your quirks, your eccentricities, your personality, and you understand theirs. Let compassion for self be your mantra. Keep asking yourself every day, how can I allow myself to have compassion for myself? What is the most compassionate thing I can eat today? Who is the most compassionate friend I can call today? What is the most compassionate way I can move my body? Do I need to be held today? Do I need someone to touch me today? Is there someone in my life I can just hold their hands and say, ooh, I needed that physical connection. That's all I needed today. Because I tell you true, my beautiful, beautiful children, you do not need fixing. There is nothing wrong with you. You are evolving, that's all. And if you want to change something, then change it. Wonderful. If you don't want to change, don't. Wonderful. But stop thinking of yourself in the deepest part of self, that you are broken and that you need fixing. You are glorious as you are now. So give yourself that knowing, give yourself that compassion, and feel what starts to move from there. Feel what starts to come up and out. There is a revolution going on in the human race, and you are at the forefront. Don't try to make yourself some perfect image. Let those illusions go. And ask yourself if you still have them. Even if you are one to say, well, I share, I'm open, I'm very big on that. But go deeper and just listen to yourself. Listen to your fears. Love them. Don't ignore them. If you have it, love it. Have compassion for your ego, for your childhood self that still is afraid of the dark. That adolescent self, yourself all along the way. Give compassion to the fears, the insecurities, the old beliefs that you might still cling to. Say, of course I'm still clinging to it. Of course I am. And it's all right. That is compassion. And you deserve compassion 1,000-fold. Never-ending compassion. And if you need me, want me, desire me to be a part of your circle of support, I will be there for you, beloved one, to remind you of how extraordinary you are right now, without changing a thing, without losing a pound, without letting go of any wrinkles, without having money, without anything. You are glorious. And I love you. I love you to the depths of your being. So when you start to get frustrated with yourself, or impatient, or irritated with yourself, stop, take a deep breath, and reach for compassion. Just a little understanding in the moment can relieve so much of the pressure you put yourselves under. And then give yourself a pause, a moment to fill with compassion. And instead of trying to push and make happen, just focus on compassion. And what you need to happen will happen. I promise you. wonderful. Be kind to yourself and always reach for compassion. Namaste.